Welcome back to Planeswalking Through Time. This is Levi Wilson with
your boy Fresh.
And we are here for the State of the Union 5, right? I believe it's 5.
That sounds right.
I'm pretty sure. I double-checked.
Okay.
I double-checked the math there. I really hope I'm right. I'm doubling down on that. But no, we're good. All right, so part of the State of the Union, so I'll outline what we're going to talk about. My notes here are going over the sets that we did, and then kind of a little talking about the decks. Like the deck selections, this quick little, hey, this was fun, this was an interesting takeaway on it, though. But what about you? What do you have? What were you thinking?
I kind of went the same. I went through the sets that are rotating out, kind of wrote down some of the new keywords, some of the new card types, and then some cards, at least from my decks, that really kind of stood out as being interesting card designs. And just kind of how that developed, or changed the course, or became a part of the course of the history of Magic.
Yeah, so, definitely.
So I will say that Levi's up 12-10.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the record. The funny thing is, you're right. Like, I want to say, like, it's important. Sure, we want to have the record, but it's like, I think every match we have, except for like one or two, we've been hitting Game 7.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so, I mean, the most recent video didn't. I probably had a bad deck design, or maybe just a bad meta for it.
I wonder if we switched your deck order, it'd have been much better. Because like my first deck, the mono red
against the blue red.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah,
it was just like hit you hard.
Yeah. The problem was, I know you have shocks, so I kind of kept waiting for you to tap out to go Rancor, and it's like, well, because the way you beat Rancor is respond to its cast, and then
so hit the actual hits graveyard. Yeah, that's a good. Oh, that's just a good lesson in Magic on like, you just gotta play it.
Right. Yeah.
Like in most cases, like force your opponent to have it, and if they don't, I think one time I did have it though, so we'll see. But okay, cool. I mean, that's just 12-10 to you, right? Which is super close.
Yep.
And then some of those games could have been closer on that. All right, good.
So the blocks that rotate are the Tempest block, and then Portal 2.
Yep. So Tempest, Stronghold, Exodus, Portal 2. Yep.
So I guess we'll just jump right into Tempest. So I didn't play. You played when Tempest first came out.
Yeah, that was like an early block. I wasn't hardcore into Magic, but those cards of like the first decks that we were getting into, the Tempest block was fun. Yeah.
So I never played it. So this is my first time with Shadow, Buyback, and I also have Slivers in here, but Slivers did reappear in like N10.
Yeah, they come back. They trickle back.
So
they changed a little bit.
I'd played with Slivers before, but so it was interesting to me that none of us ever went down the Sliver path.
Right.
And I don't know if
did you have any?
I had some.
You had the white one, right? The 3/3 for 5. I thought you had that one.
I don't think I had any big ones.
Okay.
I had
maybe you did.
A green-white one, like the dual colors.
Okay.
And then maybe like
I had two of the best ones, which are the muscle slivers. I had 2 muscle slivers.
Okay.
But
so that's +1/+1 to everything. Okay.
But no, they're slivers.
Okay.
I'm like, I can't do that.
I had like the regenerate one. I had I want to say the flying one.
Okay, the blue one. The blue flying. Yeah. That okay. When I said best, muscles just always but the flying's really good. I had coat of arms too. Like I had a sweet slippers deck, right?
So I do think part of it is the mana.
Yeah.
So it was weird to have, sort of a tribe of creatures across. It's all 5 colors.
Yeah.
And then not have the best fixing. That seemed like a little poor design there.
The design of it. Yeah, I mean, clearly we're not going to get that many duels, but even if it weren't constructed at that time.
Right.
Which duels were there? The Painlands, right? Or how am I getting that mixed up with an older set?
Ooh, that's a good question. I know the Painlands are
duels, but
back in 6.
Okay,
right?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. That I had access to. I had 2 Painlands that I tried to use in a couple decks, but didn't quite get there.
But yeah, just even like coming to play tapped and tap for 2 colors. There wasn't that many for a 5-color tribal deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So buyback. That was another one.
Yeah, you're not a fan of that, are you?
I had a couple. I think a couple of the good ones. Capsize.
Capsize buyback's good.
And then the Drain 2.
Yep, the 7 or the 4 plus 3.
Yeah,
3
I think it's 3 plus 4.
Okay.
But man, it really felt like you needed some sort of mana rock or some sort of mana generation.
Yeah. To
really kind of expose that.
Yeah, like the Capsize buyback is like a strong control deck. They have to. It's kind of a win condition, or like you have that and then you can just bounce all the lands and control it out, count everything. Yeah. But I don't know if that'd make the best games for us, right? We have 3 hours of just like control versus control.
Yeah. But I feel like if you had, say, a Thrawn Dynamo or something to pay for that buyback, you could get that engine going way better than in a sealed format.
Yeah, we didn't play any. I didn't play any buyback cards. I'm trying to think. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Yeah.
I did have a green rare that turned a land into a 2/2.
Okay.
And you could buy it back. And I was trying to think of a way to do that with your creatures and then have a board wipe to kill all creatures and it would kill all your lands, but it was it's expensive. Yeah.
And
so
that's kind of like a land destruction deck where I tried to work one out, but it just like wasn't good enough. Like even if you got anything on the board, But cool idea though.
I think if you could have like a static effect, like an enchantment, like your opponent gets -2 all their creatures. Then like each time you do it, you're killing a land/creature.
Yeah. Did it make it a green creature? What type of creature?
I think it was green.
Because I had 2 cards that like all black creatures get -1/-1.
Okay.
Wouldn't be good because it's 2/2. So if you had 2 of those, and there's like another one. It was all white creatures getting -1/-1.
Okay. I had a magma giant that did 2 damage to each creature when it ETB.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find a way to.
You need 12 mana to make it to kill one of my lands. All right.
So Shadow.
I like Shadow.
Shadow was just as good as advertised. Yeah. I think both of us throughout the course of, again, if you ever needed I think we had mostly small shadow creatures. I'm not sure if they ever got a big shadow creature.
That's a good question. The only like big shadow creature I can think of is like Time Spiral, but that's way in the future when it looks back. And it's like a 5/5 shadow black creature, but I don't know. Normally in this block they're little guys.
Right. Yeah. But you need early drops and they provide pressure. I thought that was just a really cool design. Yeah. Kind of gives it, a different plane. We've got ground creatures, flying creatures, and then now...
That's a shadow. Take it to the shadow realm.
So a couple cards that stood out. I put that Scragnoth. So that's the 3/4 pro blue, can't be countered.
Oh, yeah. That got me so good. Like 2 games, I think, or 2 matches, right?
So I guess the main reason I thought that was interesting is it felt like, and I could be wrong, it felt like that was one of the early times where they admitted green is struggling against control.
Okay, yeah. And
we need something that can push that over the top.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not that was the most, successful way to do it, that's to be seen.
Because let's see, I kind of locked in, so my white-blue deck, was like, I locked in that one, probably like during Legacy, or is this Legacy? So Legacy, 6, Portal, and Destiny. I had some version of that. So your sideboard hate against me. It was pretty strong against me. Yeah.
Meditate. So that's that was where you draw 4 cards and skip your next turn.
That one worked out really well for you.
Yeah, I don't think I ever, I mean, if you are losing and you top deck it, it is a dead card.
Yeah.
But I think in a control shell, or even like an aggressive shell where I'm putting you on the back foot, like I'm going to take a step back, but it's coming extra hard next turn.
I wonder, like when you were played it was always like, you made sure to navigate the board so that I didn't have any creatures, so there was like removal or like balance or counter or something. Right. And then you're like, sure, I'll draw 4, and it's like, I don't have that attack to get on you.
Right, so. Yeah. So it did feel like it was even better in the control shell. And it being instant speed is... Yeah. It was like if, I'd have 3 mana up, a counter spell, and meditate. And if you played something I thought needed my immediate attention, I can counter spell it. Yeah. If not, it's like, I'll just cast meditate.
Yeah, you just want to do one for once until you can do it. Yeah, I thought, we can go back and look at this games, but definitely you always played it where I was like, oh, that hurts. That's like, I'm not putting any pressure on you. Oh, man, drawing 4 cards.
Yeah. And then... obviously, Curse Scroll.
Yeah, it's out now. Good. That card basically dictated my deck selections, right? Because I think but I know during Saga, I did Elf Coat of Arms, and then White Black Aggro.
Okay.
That was the White Black Aggro that I learned my lesson. Yeah, the Shadow, and just a bunch of little guys that are like, I got you close, but then you just turn the corner, is able to just clear the board, and I can't do anything.
Yeah. That's my first time ever playing with Curse Scroll. And when you look, it looks so unassuming.
Yeah, it does, right?
Where you're like, 4 mana for a shock?
Yeah.
That's not good. And it's random. You have to pick a card in my hand. You can miss. And I missed several times.
But it was still good enough, right? Even when it was 50-50, it was still good.
And then especially if you have 2 counter spells and then a removal spell. You name the counter spell. Now I got a 66% chance and play the odds that way.
Yeah, exactly. No, that card, it's great work. It literally changed the meta where that's why I leaned into the blue-white standing troop deck. Okay. I'm like, all right, we're getting big butts. You're not killing my creatures. I'm just gonna build a big defense that can peck away.
And then the other side of it is, okay, so your board's empty, I'm just going to shoot you twice.
Yeah. It's a kill condition. It kills the board and also kills your opponent. Yeah, or it's a win con.
So that was the notes I had for Tempest.
Okay.
Did you have anything?
Yeah, I just prepared more of the decks. Okay. In the sections, not going over specific of what's rotating out. That was a smart way to look at it.
we didn't plan this. We just kind of wing
it. No, we have big notes. We can, kind of fitting in a Coat of Arms, so I lose Coat of Arms.
Yeah.
Which I had 2 decks. The Elf one is what I presented, because I had, once we got into Saga, I had 4 Priest of Titania.
Right.
Which that's the one you tap it, creates a green for how many elves you have.
Yeah.
So, bomb in that sense. But it was just all just little guys that you can kill with Curse Scroll. So that didn't work out anymore, right? And I did try to ramp out to play Big Worm.
Right.
But then if you kill the little guys, then it just slows down the game. I had a goblin deck that I could run.
Yeah.
And I put it together one week, but it's just I just knew the aggro effect of if I don't get there.
Right, yeah.
I had 3 raging goblins, or maybe 2. That's just the 1/1 haster for 1 red. It's sure, it's nice and get some damage in, but then you put down your wild bear, the forest bear, and it stops my whole team.
Right, yeah.
Until I get Coat of Arms, so I'm all right, I can't do that.
Yeah, Coat of Arms is it's an all-in strategy. I've played with that one. That one's probably another one of the reprinted cards in the future. So. Yeah. But I guess it is interesting that they had Slivers and Coat of Arms
I know,
at the same time.
Yeah. It would have been sweet if we could have gotten there.
Yeah.
I wonder...
I'm sure they ran it back in the standard
definitely. I bet you it was a sick deck. Yeah. My notes. Curse Scroll. You Curse Scrolled me out. The Elf Coat. The next week for Legacy, then I had a red-green creatures and burn. So it's kind of an early. I have 1 Rancor versus your 3, 4. I believe 4. Oh my goodness, yeah. So I believe that week you also had a red-green deck.
Okay.
That your red-green deck was better than my red-green deck. So I was all right, I can't quite play that one. And that was the first introduction of the white-blue standing troops, and then flyers. At that time, I had maybe 1 or 2 air elementals, and the Radiant Archangel. So she was really good. She's a vigilance that 3/3 flyer that gets bigger for all your flyers.
Yes.
And then that was kind of I had 2, not the mana leaks. What are the ones for 1 and a blue?
The power sync.
Well, I at this time I eventually get 4 power syncs.
Okay.
And then a counter spell, misdirection. I had 2 misdirections at that time. So pretty strong counter base, and then just one with some flyers.
Right.
Oh, and then I did get you the Trade Wind Rider lock. With the standing troops and Trade Wind Rider. So that was kind of that strategy on that deck that you know, kinda.
Yeah, kind of a prison deck with the Tradewind Riders.
Yeah.
You know, against a quote unquote fair. And I think that's why green gets, you know, the Scragnoffs of the world, where it's just like green has no answer against these big butts and flyers. Like it's.
Yeah, because like if you. Yeah, like I just counter your stuff or just get over there with flyers.
Right. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. What else you got? Do you have any other keywords or anything you want to go?
No, not for Tempest. We could jump into Stronghold.
Yeah.
So I had several of these and just never found a deck to really build around it. It's EN-KOR.
Oh, yeah.
So they could,
like the
for 0 activation, they can move damage around.
Yep.
But like a lot of them were kind of X1s or maybe X2s. And even like I had their Lord or whatever, and it just, I don't know. I think you need something to kind of dump it all eventually. Like you kind of bounce around, but eventually it has to go somewhere.
I had the common white one. I may have had 2 of them. It's like 1 for 1 white that with the 0 ability to redirect it. They could have worked well with my standing troops, right? Because like it makes combat really complicated, right?
Right.
But really, what you want to do is like when I see that card. I mean, this was probably later with Stuffy Doll. So like you take the damage, you redirect the Stuffy Doll, then Stuffy Doll does damage back to your opponent.
Yes.
So I was trying to think about that. Like, do we have any creatures available? And I didn't see any in my pool or anything like that. So maybe
could you redirect it to? I don't remember if you redirect it to another opponent's creatures.
No, it's just yours.
No. Okay.
Yeah, that'd have been amazing then, right? If you could do that.
I didn't think you. I didn't know if any of the rares, if that rare let you cross that boundary.
I don't think it does. Yeah.
I think it might just be a flyer, so that's why they made it a rare.
Yeah, there was because if you kind of think about the strategy, like what do you're kind of just all defense, right? So kind of what are you doing? Because you could like redirect that damage. How would that work with pro? Like if you had a white creature, redirect that damage to a creature that's pro white, because then basically that creature can take all damage. But then like I'm attacking with a 1/1, like you'll block. Like it doesn't do anything. Right? Yeah. It kind of like a weird workaround to make that creature indestructible to damage.
Yeah.
Which wasn't quite good enough.
Right. Yeah, it never. I did have 1 white wall. Maybe I gained health each time it was damaged or something.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
So
but again, it's a wall. So
right, like, yeah. But so now I'm playing all these overcasted small creatures to gain life. It's you know.
Did you have? Yeah, we have no way to win the game with extra right now. Yeah. So you're just like dirtling around a lot. Right. Like, I'll just keep hitting you with a 4/4 flyer, right? Yeah. Like, hey, cool. It's good. You're doing something cool.
Right. Yeah. So that was at least an interesting. And then the other one, obviously these are going to share keyword abilities, but the other one that kind of jumped out about this one was just the spikes.
Yeah. I did one week. I had a spike deck because I had a lot of green ones and. So they were slightly undercosted. Like you would get a 4/4 for 5, or no, I think it may have been a 3/3 for 5. I'd have to look. Like a green creature, it's like 3 green. Maybe it's 4 counters on it, but it's like, it's a 4/4 because then you could do a Spine Worm that was a 5/4 vanilla, but then a 4/4 that had the spike ability to move around. Right. And a couple of games we did made combat a little bit more complicated. Yeah. But it seemed like it was kind of hard to do.
Yeah, so what's funny is each time I had a black deck, after I saw that, I had 2 spike cannibals. Okay. So when they ETB, they take all the spikes off the board. And I refuse to play you never played it again. I'm just sitting here with these spike cannibals waiting for this.
Oh, you could have incepted me, be like, oh yeah, the spike deck seems pretty good, and then I think over it again. You should have done that. Right. You tricked me. That'd be good. I mean, there was so I said elves, goblins, and spikes for the coat of arms. There was one week where it's like, oh, maybe I do a spike coat of arms, but
right because they can make Thalids.
One of them can.
Or is it just one of them?
Yeah, because it's always like 2 mana to move a +1/+1 counter to another creature.
Okay.
Or do something fancy. like Spike Feeder is like the most popular one now because like infinite combos where you can remove a counter to gain a life or gain 2 life.
Yeah.
So forget which is that in Stronghold, but yeah, it's always like you have that ability 2 mana, move on to another creature, or it'll be something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the couple of cards that, again, I'm not totally sure on, but I think this was the first appearance of Mana Leak.
Was it in that one? Okay.
Stronghold.
Okay.
Which is really interesting because we had at least I had a bunch of counter spells, and it's like, this is just better than Mana Leak.
yeah.
Especially if you're already heavy blue. I guess the trade-off.
Yeah, the double blue for counterspell, but I mean, Mana Leak's still such a strong.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like it's in the vintage cube, right? Like,
yeah.
And I drafted it pretty highly.
That's
right?
always counterspell.
Yeah.
It's just interesting that they would print those so close together, and you kind of just see the power level difference.
That could be also just like having more counters in the format, right?
That's
like
true.
just give those blue mages their counters because misdirection, power sync.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I'll play them all. I'll win with Fairy Conclaves, right? My land. You only need 1 creature.
But I do think that they designed Mana Leak to be a fixed counterspell.
Okay.
So they thought counterspell was a little too strong.
I can see that, yeah.
And so, hey, we'll make Mana Leak, so late game it won't matter as much, but early game it's still good.
That's an interesting design idea, too, because you're right, it does make it's weaker late game, but if you play it right, like if you're patient, you can really blow somebody out.
Right, yeah.
In 2 ways, right? They just have 2 mana open, they're like, gotcha, and you're like, no!
Right.
Why did I think about the Mana Leak? Or they only have 2 mana, they play it, you get them, and then right after they play their 3rd land, and they're like, oh, mistakes were made, why didn't I play my 3rd land? That's the worst, like, that feeling. There's like levels of playing against Mana Leak as you grow as a Magic player, where like a lot of times, like at first, you're like, I'm not gonna play this lane because I don't want to look like a fool.
Right, yeah,
but then you're like, dang it, I'm a fool. I gotta reveal. I gotta show the world that I had it. I didn't realize I made the mistake. That's the mature way to do it, right? Let it burn so they don't make the mistake.
And then Shock got his first appearance, and again, that was supposed to be a fixed Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
They thought Lightning Bolt was too strong. They thought Counterspell was too strong. So here's 2 cards that basically do the same thing, but not quite as effective. Which is Magic realizing it made a mistake and is fixing it.
Adapting. There's one important card that I have in one of my decks, Equilibrium. I think that was Stronghold. Do you remember Stronghold or Tempest? Maybe Exodus. We'll see.
Is that the one where you get to cast creatures for free?
No. That's a Lurin. No, this one. But I was trying to combo that off. No, Equilibrium is when I play a creature, I pay 1 to then bounce a creature.
Yes.
Any creature. So, I mean, I tried to make that work quite a bit in a few different decks, right? Where the most recent one was the blue-red one.
Where you tried to get infinite mana.
Yeah, I overlooked that. I'm like, oh, I actually have to cast a spell, right? No, but with that one, the Imperial Recruiters, which came out in Portal 3 Kingdoms, right? But it allows me to use the Equilibrium. Right, so then, like, I can bounce that to search my library for a creature with power 2, or get the creature and then bounce that one.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a strong combo, and there's the ETB effects are really ramping up at this point in time in Magic. So that was good.
Yep. I think that was a fun strategy, but a little too dirtily. Like it's slightly too slow.
Right. And then I do think Cursed Scroll really held that down, where you pay the money to bounce it, and then I respond by killing it. Especially with Imperial Recruiter, because you can only get it's power, so you can get like a 2/5, I guess, if you really want to. But not a whole lot of those guys running around. So that was all I had for Stronghold.
Yeah.
You have anything else? Okay. All right, jump over to Exodus. I didn't really see any keywords or anything that really stood out. So the 2 cards I kind of had highlighted here were City of Traders.
Okay, yeah.
So that's sort of again, I think they're
you played that a couple of times. Did you?
I never really got it to.
The timing of that's hard.
Yeah. Where the whole idea was I had there's a bounce spell that lets you untap 2 lands.
Oh yeah.
So if I could essentially snap, and then obviously the big one would have been Time Spiral.
Yeah.
So if I could actually net a mana,
you up to 7 on that.
On some of
sense.
that.
That card though is like probably the best when you plays your 3rd land to ramp up to 4 to get that, like, it's kind of a time walk,
right? Yeah.
Or that 4 to 5, and then you just play it out, and then you play land when you need to blow it up,
right?
Like,
but then I guess the turn you play that 5th or 6th land, you could tap it first to float the mana and then play it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It never really felt like I was getting ahead. Like I feel like I kind of just maybe one turn, or maybe I just didn't have it be reliable enough. Like to me, that felt like the fixed Soul Ring.
Oh yeah.
Where Soul Ring is just completely busted, untapping every turn.
Yeah, I can see that.
Whereas that, it's like, hey, you can't get too far ahead. Yeah. We're gonna have to blow it up.
Yeah,
but,
it's hard to navigate, hard card to navigate. But I think also like the decks I was playing didn't quite warrant you to.
Yeah. Especially like
the
white red black shadow.
Yeah.
Or the control versus control mirror where you mainly just want to hit your land drops and keep it moving. That
I think you were putting that in your blue control deck, right? Yeah. So, because a lot of the times you're just sitting there waiting, playing lands, and you don't want to blow up a land. So,
again, I was trying to get it to work with Snap and Time Spiral, and it never really.
I wonder if that would have been good in your Selesnya, your green white, like Mother Runes, Rancor, First Strike.
Yeah.
That might have been home in there, but
might have been a better spot for it. Yeah. I can see that. Hatred.
Oh yeah, Hatred is so good. You got me. Yeah, that was an Exodus, right?
Yeah. So Hatred is
such
gone.
A fun card.
It's like a super valuable card, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it was really expensive.
Is that a commander staple or something?
It has to be.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine what else you would spend 5 mana for. 5 mana and pay life. And then if they just respond with a Doom Blade, you're just totally...
That's the risk, right? You're like, dude, do you have anything? Please don't destroy me. I'll be at 1.
Right. Now, the nice thing is, in this particular series, I had Mom to pair with.
Yeah, so that's good.
You would need 2 removal spells of different colors to get around Mom.
Yeah, let's see, don't make it pro-black, though, right? That would be bad. You're like, oh.
That's true. Or, in this case, wait till they're tapped out, and then there's...
Yeah. And then you do it.
So, but that was just another really, really interesting card design, in which, you could just flat out, you could win early. I mean, as soon as you get 5 wins. Did you have Dark
Ritual, too? Because I think...
I did have a Dark Ritual, but I don't think I like Dark Rit in more of a graveyard interaction, do it twice in a turn, kind of, really get that.
Yeah. I've come up on Dark Ritual now. At first I was like, alright, I want to play it, but I mean, it's kind of a Black Lotus. It's I won't take it that far though, but like, you could have done like, turn 2, play a 2/1 Shadow, turn 3, then you can win with Hatred.
So so you go Mom, 2/1 Shadow,
like I tap out for 2/2 or something, and then they're like, I'll just win with Hatred. Yeah. Because like Swamp, you get 3 plus 2, it's 5 Hatred.
Yeah.
Pay 18.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing of Shock is in this, so if you do have that one kill me in response.
There's definitely a risk on it, But even like, the card Hatred's pretty good, because even if it's like mid to late game, you can navigate it so that, you attack.
Right.
Make combat complicated. And I think
I almost did a defensive Hatred. You had some big fatty, and it didn't end up working out. But I think you maybe had what's the Air Elemental or something, and it was just beating me down. And
like you'd have to,
god, this is gonna be so bad if he's got a bounce.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, Hatred is sweet.
Yeah. So
we're talking about cards in Exodus that are fit in my decks. I want to say like just improvements. I did like the blue-white. Like I'd improve that every set, but then I would mix it up, kind of keep you on your toes, so you couldn't completely predict with your 6 sideboarding strategies on me, though, right? I'm not sure. So, Scrivener and the Anarchist, I think Anarchist was in Exodus. That's one that gets a sorcerer back for it's a 2/2 for 5.
Yeah.
So I utilized those cards a bit.
I had him in there with the original idea of the. It was like when it was blue black with the Raised Dead.
Okay.
Or Exhume.
Yep.
So it was trying to like.
Oh, cool. To get Exhume back. Yeah.
So if I needed to get Exhume back or, Time Spiral, if it, because that deck was heavy on the discard when I first built it, trying to dump a fatty in there or show and tell out a fatty.
Yeah. Get show and tell back that'd be kind of fun. Like you show and tell Anarchist to get back show and tell to do it again and like do it when I don't have any cards.
Right. Yeah. Or
it's a free 2/2, but yeah. It's a little dirtily, but it's so cool.
Or if, you had previously milled Yogg Will.
Yeah.
Or Time Spiral. I think one of the things, so like I've just named 4 or 5 Vintage Cube cards.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem to have that punch.
Yeah, it's not as tight. Yeah, you're right. Like, it's still powerful, but it's kind of a little closer to Honest Magic in this format. But
it's just, every time I've ever played with Time Spiral, it's been in Vintage Cube where if you cast it, unless it goes horribly wrong, you want to win that turn.
Yeah.
And anything else is,
Yeah, either like you're setting up to storm out with the win, or what I like to do is like the draw 7s, which then prevent my opponents from drawing 7, like Narset.
Like Shieldred or what's the other one?
It's like Narset,
Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah.
Or there's a blue 3/2 flash guy that.
Yeah. The pirate. I know that's the most important one that creates treasures.
Yeah. So, but just seeing it in a regular deck, and I don't know, maybe it doesn't really go in a control shell. Like it feels like it goes in a combo deck, and I don't know if there was a combo deck.
You could,
with Yogg Will and Time Spiral. It's like I was so shocked that Storm wasn't in with those cards.
Yeah,
like
I forget when Storm comes out. It's mechanic.
Yeah,
it's a while though.
I think so, but just in my brain, I just thought, obviously,
just do Storm. Yeah. I think it's still valid. Like that's a good question whether control or not, because what you should do, like if you are time spiraling, if you have like 2 cards in your hand versus my 5 or 6, then it's like you're drawing 3 or 4 cards. So I don't know.
Counter spells are still good the second time around. I think better than Mana Leaks.
I think so many of them.
In that deck, I was trying to basically get a second run at my burn spells.
Yeah. Okay.
So and if
that makes sense, then to burn me.
Yeah. So if you were at this, anywhere between like 4 to 6 life, like. All right, let me do it. Untap everything and try to kill you that turn.
And then draw. And same thing with the Yogg Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the Yogg, I don't think did they rotate out?
Yogg Will?
Yogg Will and Time Spiral?
Yeah. Oh, no, I don't. I think
it might be Urza's.
Saga. Yeah.
Well,
so you're good.
Marcadian Mass didn't have Storm either.
That's right. Yeah, they'll be there at some point. But I mean, that's just like, I'm not necessarily looking at like the sets. We realize the sets are phasing out, rotating out, but it's more like the decks that we built.
Right. Yeah.
That is just like, okay, those decks can't be played anymore, which is cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Rest in peace. The Cursed Scroll control deck.
Yeah, I know. Right? Yeah.
I definitely should have played you first last week. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. That's true. It should always go first. That's what we found out though. We're kind of going through the State of the Unions. Like it feels like a mono red deck does tease out. So that's kind of interesting on the design that Magic's always. That's just what red does though. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's red deck wins has always been. Apparently, it's always
been there. Yeah. Which that's
even
cool.
with Alpha. I mean, you were just throwing lightning bolts at my face, and it's like, well. I got nothing for you.
I mean, I had to work a little bit more because I did have like 2 pyrotechnics, which I'm not sure if I still have those. Is that 6th or was that Portal?
I want to say that it was reprinted in 6th.
Okay, I'd have to check on that. But yeah, so using those with the Anarchist to get him back. Like,
yeah.
And then like searching up the Anarchist. So there's some like, it wasn't just like lightning bolt to your face.
Right,
That style was like, I had to jump through a little bit more hoops for that.
Then the 3 damage spread out.
Yeah, arc lightning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's also sorcery, so be able to get that too. Yeah.
So the last set, Portal 2.
Portal 2, right? Like, I played 1 card, and that was Sleight of Hand. Right? Like, did you play any other cards?
My 1 card was Rain of Daggers, so the one-sided Wrath.
The Wrath. I had the white Wrath.
Yes.
In the white
it had to be
blue
tapped,
deck.
right?
It had to be tapped, and I gained 2 life when the creatures are destroyed. But I think they actually took that out. I played it the first week. Maybe I took it in and out. I couldn't remember each one just because I needed space. But I'm like, it doesn't quite like. Basically, every time I played it, it killed a 2/1 shadow.
Right.
Right. That was it.
Yeah. Rain of Daggers, I think, is significantly better.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to be tapped.
Yeah.
You do lose life, so eventually, I guess
your opponent's creatures.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the amazing part of it.
Oh yeah. So the white one does both sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, the black one would just. It seemed like it was either the exact right card you need at that exact time, or it's a totally dead card. I don't have enough life to absorb this hit.
Yeah.
So that's why I built the black-white deck to gain that life back.
Yeah. Which that made sense. Turn the monk to gain 2 life.
Right.
Made it much better, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think that was a good build.
And then, we personally talk about just how weird Portal was. The before attacking triggers, that was the biggest thing I wrote about this. That is just I
think there was a game where, because I forgot about that I lost. There was a red, like my weaker mono red deck.
Okay.
When I thought about it again, I was like, oh, I had enough burn in my hand to be able to burn you out.
Okay.
But I was -1 point because of the timing on that.
Okay.
Where I messed up, so I'm like, oh. I mean, I'd have to go back again.
Right.
But I think
so, and it just, that's the worst time to do a trigger, is before attacking.
Yeah, I know.
Because it's before attackers are declared, so you can't even respond to it, or they've got some surprise blocker, or, pump spell. Like, for a system designed to help new players, to teach them bad magic just doesn't,
bad tactics or bad
right. Or even if you had if they were tap triggers, that'd make just so much more sense. I don't know. That set was just
the restriction on it. It's just what we experienced it through Planeswalking through time.
Yeah.
We understand what it is now. I think a lot of the cards were just weaker too.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, I'm not gonna play that one.
Yeah, I had a Necrotol for a long time and played a lot of Necrotol. And then I got the Portal 2 Necrotol, which you got to choose the creature.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not good.
Never give your opponent the choice, right?
Right. You're always going to pick your worst creature. Lots of just... So it kind of felt like a core set with bad mechanics.
Yeah, I can feel that.
A dumbed down core set, a weakened core set.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I had.
Yeah. There we go.
So we do have the 3 Marcadian Mass sets, which I don't have them memorized, but and then we rotate again.
Yeah.
And it'll be a 5 set rotation next time. So
that's gonna be a big one.
The Urza Saga, so there's 3, 6th, and Portal 3.
Yep.
All rotate, so it'll be even bigger.
Yeah.
I do still like rotation. It does.
Yes, the big picture.
Speed up deck building. Eventually you start getting these, crazy combos, and you start just picking it apart too much in your head that you're like, and then you just dump out something ridiculous that doesn't even work. And
well, I like the rotation because it allows us to explore different decks.
Yeah.
Something that's maybe a little weaker that we can play around with. Versus, like, I'd still be on my mono red.
Right.
Bolts and chain lightnings, like, we'd be playing the same deck every week. So
mono black versus mono red.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Don't let me get hatred in that one.
Yeah, and then that's the same idea with the legacy cards. I'm glad we tested that out earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm okay with, like, not bringing that back.
Right. Yeah, I don't miss it. Again, it basically just locks you in.
Yeah.
I mean, it would still be cool to have Necropotence and Yogg-Will. There you go.
Yeah.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Oh my gosh. Right.
Or
and you had Soul Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mana.
Not
Vault.
Yeah,
Mana
double
Crypt.
mana Vault. Mana Crypt. Yeah, the Crypts. Yeah. But
yeah.
I don't even know. I would have Sarah Angel.
There you go. You should have had the green-white land, Savannah.
I know, Savannah, yeah.
You messed that up.
I did even try to go Bant decks. So I'll make it happen. It did not work.
All right, well, I think that is everything, so we will...
Good talk session.
Yeah.
We got a good, 40 minutes out of that. All right, thanks for watching.
We'll see you in Arcadian Masks.
See ya.